What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my week 2 planning guide to the LBA. I'm going up against Dude Ab. I'm going up against probably one of my best friends in my division, to be 100% honest with you. I love battling Ab. He's one of those guys that you always walk away from a battle saying, wow, that was fantastic. So I'm really looking forward to battling him. Real quick, I know that I'm not actually showing any recording in this, but I always forget in my my battles and stuff like that, to say thank you to Eric for recording all of them. Eric Ashnak, hi. Make sure you guys go check him out. I'll leave his link in the description below. Fantastic dude, fantastic content. So, shameless plug. So, looking at Ab's team, it'll be up in the right-hand corner of this video. He has a very strange team, to be 100% honest. I think he actually described it the best as a bunch of really cute Pokemon put together on a team to be deadly. So, he has Dragonite, Manaphy, Klefki, Entei, Porygon 2, Azelf, Mega Sableye, Roserade, Golbat, and Ditto. Now, his team is very different, to be 100% honest with you. It's very different. So, looking at his team, the first thing that I noticed about his team is that he has no ground types and no immunities to electric at all. So that means Raikou was a definite come, because I needed to have the fast Volt switch. I'm always going to bring Shiny Raikou, just to let you guys know. It's always going to be Shiny, just in case I need to run the event one. So since he has nothing to soak up electric type hits, that means I can make this thing a straight up powerhouse, and I can punch as many holes as I possibly can through. Now, whenever you look at his team, another thing that I noticed is that it's not super fast. He has Azelf, base 115. That's his fastest thing. His next is Manaphy and Entei at base 100. So as long as I outspeed non-Scarf base 100s, I'm happy. So, real quick, I'm going to jump over here to the Pokemon calculator. This was something completely random. So we are going to go to Raikou. And we're going to say choice specs, because I want it to punch as many holes as I possibly can. Let's make this 252 just for GP. And then we're actually going to calc Manaphy, because Manaphy is something that really scares me if it starts to set up on my team. So 252 timid means I need to outspeed 167. And the first thing I noticed was, could I go modest? No, because I speed tie. I don't like speed ties. I like to know for a fact I can outspeed. So I drop this down so I get to 168, which is right there. Then I throw the rest in HP. So actually, yeah, that's about right. That's about right. 144 in HP. So, go over here. Actually, I think 140 gives me 168. Yeah, 140. That means I can throw the rest of it into HP, which is 108. That gives me the odd amount of HP, 252, and that leaves me with 8 left over. So let's just throw 4 in each defense. Now, this set right here allows me to do a lot of damage with choice specs. This allows me to OHKO or 2-hit KO everything on his team aside from Specially Defensive Porygon 2, Ditto if he clones me, or Entei, I believe. I believe I might actually 2-hit KO Entei with Thunderbolt, but I'm not leaving this thing in on Entei anyway because of Bulldoze or Stone Edge or something. So real quick, let's just double check my spread. I'm going to double check all this real quick. 108. And that brings me to 179. So looking at this, if he is max HP invested, I still OHKO with Thunderbolt. So he has to be running like a Calm Nature, max HP for me not to OHKO his Manaphy. So that goes to show right here that this thing can punch holes through Manaphy. Let's go to Klefki. Let me know if you guys don't like me actually showing all the calcs on this video, because if you don't, I won't do it. I'll just show you the sets and why and make this a 10-minute video, but I think that's kind of boring. I would rather show you guys exactly why I'm doing it like this. So this is a specially defensive Klefki, and as you can see, I 2-hit KO with Thunderbolt. So that says a lot. Mega Sableye. Mega Sableye is a huge problem for my team. It scares the piss out of me. It really, truly does. But I can 2-hit KO it as long as he does not set up Calm Minds. The second he starts to set up Calm Minds, I'm screwed. So I need to make sure that I can kill him quickly. So Thunderbolt Raikou does a lot of damage to everything. Like, let's even look at Golbat. Especially defensive, 50. Bam, to a KO. That's especially defensive. Dragonite. Let's say he's... I think for his Dragonite set, I would bet money that he's going to be bringing Dragonite. I would also bet money that he is going to be bringing the setup Dragonite, not a choice banded Dragonite, because if he has the correct coverage, he could potentially sweep me with Dragonite. So I need to be careful about what I bring and what I don't bring. So that means that HP Ice does a lot of damage. I mean, I outspeed this thing as long as he doesn't get up a +1. If he does get up a +1, I have things later on to deal with it. So I need to make sure that I hit this thing the second I see it. Don't let it set up on me, and do not, whatever I do, hit it with HP Ice before its multi-scale is broken. Rule number 1. So that is fantastically awesome. Let's go ahead and, I mean, Azelf is a frail cat, so I'm actually going to be putting extra sensory on, because especially defensive Roserade can kind of sort of soak up hidden power ices. So Roserade, especially defensive Roserade, can really sort of eat up hidden power ices, while extra sensory 2-hit KOs it. So I really need to watch out for that. So I'm also, yeah, I'm running Timid. Wrong Pokemon I'm thinking about. So extra sensory takes care of this. It takes care of his Klefki. Let me calc Entei real quick just to show you guys that. All out offensive. I think he's going to be running a choice banded one, to be honest. Thunderbolt does a shit ton of damage, so that's awesome. Flare Blitz, look, he can OHKO me with so much, so I need to really watch out for that. But this thing basically can revenge kill everything on his team depending on the items that he's running. Kills Manaphy, kills Klefki, kills Entei. Doesn't kill Porygon 2. It actually does pitiful damage to Porygon 2. Like, we'll take a look at that. Especially defensive, just because. Yeah, that does literally nothing. So it doesn't take care of Porygon 2, but it takes care of Azelf, Mega Sableye before it sets up, Roserade, and Golbat. So this thing can really clean up a good portion of his team. So with that being said, let's walk over here, and we're going to definitely be carrying Volt Switch, because I'm actually going to be running a very hyper-offensive Volt Turn team this week, which is really weird because I have a really bulky team. I should just run Stall every single week, but I'm not. So Hidden, Power Ice, and then we're also running Extra Sensory, just because that's the smart thing to do. So, like I said, this thing can really clean up a lot of his team. I was considering throwing Extreme Speed on this thing, but after looking Mega Sableye and Porygon 2 and Klefki, they don't really care about that. I wanted Extreme Speed to break the multi-scale, but that's kind of irrelevant, so I'm not. So, next thing that I noticed about his team was that he doesn't have a whole lot to deal with Registeel. I mean, Dragonite, if he gets to a +1 Earthquake, does a good chunk, I guess. Entei can hurt it, but aside from that, he doesn't have a whole lot that wants to really deal with it. So I'm definitely bringing Registeel again. I feel like Registeel is going to be a huge fallback of mine that I really like. Definitely going to be giving it the leftovers. And the one thing I didn't know if I wanted to bring especially defensive or physically defensive, so let's take a look at specially defensive. 50, and the one thing I want this thing to take on is Dragonite. He gets to +1. Yeah, see, look, +1. Let me replace Fire Punch with Earthquake. Earthquake. Yeah, see, +1 does a lot. But that means he has to get to +1 first, and that still doesn't OHKO. So as long as I keep this thing healthy, I can Thunder Wave the hell out of it and slow it down and then have Raikou come in and revenge it. So I'm not too worried about that. As long as I don't let him get to +2, the second he gets to +2, I'm a little worried. But even then, it still might not OHKO. So depending on his spread, if he runs Jolly. If he runs Jolly, which I think he might actually, because he knows I like the speed creep. If he runs Jolly, it's a lot less chance. So Registeel, especially defensive, it really stops a lot of his team. Like, even look at Roserade. The one thing I'm kind of worried about, if he's wants to run Hidden Power Fire with Technician. Let me throw Technician with Hidden Power Fire. I mean, that doesn't do a whole lot, but if I get a Thunder Wave off on this thing, I can set up rocks, I can do a whole bunch of stuff. But I really need to be careful about how often I go for Thunder Wave, Toxic, and Stealth Rocks, because Mega Sableye is a huge problem. Mega Sableye 110% stops this thing, and he will recognize it every time I bring this thing in. If he doesn't, then that is crazy to me. So, Azelf could kind of sort of hurt me. Azelf could kind of sort of hurt this thing depending on what type of set he's running. I mean, even then, Fire Blast does nothing, so. But that's uninvested naive, so let's just slap 252 in this. Yeah, see, even then, it's not doing a whole lot, and I could really prevent it from getting up rocks in the beginning if I go for Thunder Wave and stuff like that, so. But I really do need to be careful about that. Another thing I noticed was that Klefki, I could stall this thing out to end and back, to death and back, because he can't touch me with anything. If he sets up Calm Minds and goes for Hidden Power Fire, like here, let's set this thing to +6, and then throw Hidden Power Fire. Yeah. I'm not worried about Klefki at all as long as I have this thing around. So, Registeel was definitely a must for this team just because I'm actually going to bring the exact same set as the week before because it just does work. Stealth Rocks. Stealth Rocks are going to be super important if I can actually get them up and not have to worry about Mega Sableye. So, Stealth Rocks are going to come into massive play. Massive play. No shiny. No shiny for you. I just really need to be careful about setting up hazards and things like that. As long as he has that Mega Sableye around, I don't really feel comfortable doing it. But another thing about his team is that he only has one defogger. So if I can get Mega Sableye, if I could get these things up before he Mega Evolves, if I could get it in predicting a switch, whatever, that's awesome. So Registeel can really wall a lot of his team. So not much to say about Registeel. Moving on to the next. Scizor. Bringing the double steel type again. Bringing the choice banded Scizor, of course. I'm going to be bringing Technician, and the one thing I need is Defog, because I'm not about to let his Klefki set up 3 layers of spikes, his Roserade set up Toxic Spikes, and his Azelf set up Stealth Rocks on me. I'm not about to let that happen. I need to have Defog on this thing, and the really awesome thing about this is that it can revenge kill literally his entire team with this moveset right here. Again, I want to have U-Turn, and I need to have Bug Bite. If I don't have U-Turn or Bug Bite, then I'm desperately killing the core that I want to have with this Volt Turn core. So, let's go over here to Scizor. Not Mega Scizor. Mega Scizor sucks, dude. Not really. I just strongly dislike it in this format, which is funny because I drafted it last season. Definitely max attack. Gotta have max attack. Bless you. You're welcome. So, with Adamant max attack Klefki, HP Fire does a lot at +6, obviously, but, you know, it's whatever. So, we're gonna go no move, just in case he wants to run, like, foul. If he wants to run foul play, that's the one thing I think he will definitely run on this, and it does a lot of damage to me. So, I mean, Bullet Punch does not a whole lot if he's physically defensive. However, I think he'll be bringing specially defensive Klefki. Because if he does not bring specially defensive Klefki... Wait, where is it? What the heck? I cannot get this thing to change over to just regular special defensive, calm nature. Okay, cool. So, if he does not bring specially defensive Klefki, that means that my Raikou can literally punch every single hole through his team aside from Porygon 2. So that means if he wants to take that chance and not bring Klefki at all, that's awesome. That means I can just Bug Bite everything. I need to take Superpower off. Let's throw Bug Bite. Don't pay attention to Knockoff. I'm not using Knockoff. So, Bullet Punch is a solid 2 KO on this thing no matter what. I think he's going to be running dual screens, especially defensive Klefki. So I need to really keep that in mind. If I could get 2 Bullet Punches off before he gets his Reflect up, that'd be awesome. So another thing that I noticed is that he's base 75, I'm base 65. I need to outspeed this bastard. So I'm going to go right up here till I get to 96, which is 84 in speed, and then we're going to throw the rest in HP. So that's basically his only job is to outspeed Klefki, because it's kind of sort of slow as balls anyway. So 84, 252, Adamant, and then the rest in HP. Alright, he's on level 50. So, this makes him hella bulky. So, whenever I go to calc this, so what, 172 in speed? Let me look at my notes. Yeah, 172 in HP. So, the really good thing about this is that, look at this Dragonite. If If he wants to run Dragon Dance, Fire Punch does kill. I'm well aware. But I think he has to run Earthquake. I really think he has to run Earthquake, and if he gets to +1, it does not kill. It's a guaranteed 2-hit KO, but that's fine. Once I can get a Pokemon in here to break that multi-scale, once he's below half, he's screwed. So that's what I need to keep in mind, is just that get him below, get his multi-scale broken, I have answers. So, not a huge problem there. Manaphy does suck to go up against Manaphy because I can't really do a whole lot. But you know what? Bug Bite does a lot if I can get him on the switch. If he's running HP Fire, I think he'll be running a lot of Hidden Power Fires, to be honest with you. He has a lot that he could run Hidden Power Fire on. Let me rephrase that. Hidden Power Fire does a shit ton, so I need to be careful. But that's fine. Bug Bite does a lot. U-Turn does 53% to no speed and no HP investment. Max HP, it's still a 2-hit KO, so I think that Scizor could be a massive cleanup again in this battle. I need to run Defog. I was considering putting knockoff on this thing to knock off items and things like that, but I could not fit it on the moveset anywhere in the entire universe of whatever. So another thing that's really awesome about this specific set is look at his Mega Sableye. 2-hit KO with Bug Bite. So if he wants to Will-O-Wisp me, that really sucks. But he won't Will-O-Wisp me for free. He'll Will-O-Wisp me after he loses 50% of health. Then he can Recover Storm me, which really sucks. But, you know, I think I have an answer for that later on in the video. Again, get him below half. That's all I have to do, and Scizor can clean up the rest of his team. So, really need to watch out for this. Porygon 2. Porygon 2 is kind of a problem for this thing if he's running physically defensive, because I can't do a whole lot, but it's whatever. And then, of course, Golbat is a massive problem for this thing because I can't touch it in the slightest. So, Golbat is a problem. I recognize that. I'm okay with that because my next Pokemon is going to be Hydreigon. Hydreigon, I really let it down last week. I really did not put it to the best of its ability last week. I really need to check movesets and things like that for what can carry Dazzling Gleams. And looking at his team, Manaphy, Klefki, Porygon 2 can carry a super effective move. Azelf can. I don't think Mega Sableye learns Dazzling Gleam. I know Roserade learns Dazzling Gleam, and Choice Scarf Ditto sucks. So, I cannot keep this in on a lot, but if I run Choice Scarf, I outspeed a lot. So, I have to be running Choice Scarf, unfortunately. And, if I'm not mistaken, Hydreigon, let's go ahead and get this thing set up in here. Choice Scarf. The main thing I want this thing to do is I want it to be a Dragonite killer. I know he loves his Dragonite. He plans... I think he's going to rely a lot on, hey, I can sweep his team with Dragonite. Let me go ahead and sweep his team with Dragonite. I'm not going to let him. So, if he's running this specific moveset, I want to be able to outspeed him at +1. So that means I need to get higher than this number. Let me throw Jolly on here just to be safe. 145. I think this speed right there, no matter what, I outspeed this thing at +1. This also allows me to outspeed a couple other things. So if he runs Jolly, he severely cuts down his firepower, and I still outspeed. So I lose nothing from this. And then, oh wait, shoot, no. I'm actually running 84. Yeah, so if he runs Jolly, I'm screwed. I'm screwed. But I'm also running 172 in HP, so... I mean, this kind of makes it a little bulky. I should probably switch those two stats, but I'm not going to, because if he runs Jolly Dragonite, I have answers for it in other aspects of the team, and I like having this added bulk. So, I mean, I don't know. I could run Timid with a little bit more speed just to be safe, but I'm not going to, because if he runs Jolly, that means my Registeel takes less hits. That means I can Thunder Wave it earlier. It means that he's going to severely hurt himself, and I'm not too worried about that. So, Another thing that I noticed is a huge problem for this thing is actually his Mega Sableye. Mega Sableye is a massive problem for me to deal with, which is why I have to have a couple answers in it and a couple more Pokemon that I have, because if he sets up with this thing, I'm not about to deal with that. So, Draco Meteor hurts, but once my special attack gets to -2, the chances of me 2-KOing him are pretty slim. So, again, get him below half and I'm fine. So, I really need to focus on that. I really need to focus on that. So, this thing really is a good pivot for me. I'm not going to be running Fire Blast. I'm actually going to be running Flamethrower because I hate high-risk moves. I hate them. I hate them to death and back. And this also allows me to hit Klefki for a lot of damage. Let's just take a look at this. I hate how they don't just have Calm Klefki. They probably do. I'm just not clicking on the right thing, but it's whatever. Flamethrower allows me to do a lot of damage to him. A lot of damage to a KO. But if he's running Dazzling Gleam... Okay, so the way I look... Pardon me. The way I look at it, he has to run Foul Play for Scizor, otherwise Scizor completely kills this thing. He has to be running Dual Screens. If he doesn't run Dual Screens, then I don't know what the heck his other movesets will be. If he's not running Dual Screens, he'll have a Fairy move for this. So I kind of need to scout out his moveset before I send this thing in versus Klefki. So it's one thing I really have to be careful about. And Defog also will get rid of his screens if I see him starting to set up screens and I don't like it. So this thing really can punch a lot of holes through his team. Let's go ahead and take a look at Manaphy. I'm not really too worried about Manaphy because Raikou stops it in its tracks. Draco Meteor is a solid KO once he's below half. Entei, if he runs Choice Band at Entei, that's fine. Draco Meteor, Bat. I mean... Granted, I don't outspeed him if he's Choice Scarf Adamant, but that's fine. I doubt he'll be running that set on Entei. Azelf, if he is running Azelf with a Choice Scarf, then kudos. But Dark Pulse kills. I think I'll be running Focus Sash, Suicide Lead with Stealth Rocks because he needs to get up rocks versus my team. Rose Raid, especially defensive, does not take a Draco Meteor or a Flamethrower very well. And I think I'll actually be running an offensive Rose Raid, to be 100% honest with you, with Spikes and Toxic Spikes. So that means he doesn't take Flamethrower or Draco Meteor, even better. So, and another thing I noticed, that if he runs HP Fire on this thing for Scizor, that means he can't be running HP Ice, but he can be running Dazzling Gleam for this, which means he can't be running Spikes or Toxic Spikes. So a lot of his team has 4-move syndrome versus my team. He can't be running all these moves that he needs to run for my team because he needs to run other moves for other Pokemon. If that makes any sense and you understood that, 500 brownie points for you. 50 points for Gryffindor. 4 for you, Glen Coco. You go, Glen Coco. Golbat, especially defensive. Kind of a problem, but, you know, still does a decent chunk. So, his team really doesn't appreciate this specific spread of Hydreigon, so of course we gotta be running Draco Meteor. Draco Meteor is the best move in the world. Dark Pulse, Flamethrower, and of course U-Turn. U-Turn, like I said, be running a very hyper-offensive U-Turn. Oh wait, I had it right the first time. I am running 172 in speed. Funny, I was looking at Scizor, had it backwards. So I do outspeed. I'm so funny. Entei, offensive. So I do outspeed Adamant Scarf Entei. So, God, I'm funny. Jeez, oh whiz, I'm so funny. Tell me how funny I am, Melissa.
You're funny.
I know. 84. 172. Timid. I don't want to run a minus defense nature because I need to be able to eat up all the hits I possibly can, so that's why. Let's see his stats at level 50, and there we go. This will punch holes, lots of holes. 178 HP makes him kind of sort of bulky. Same thing with this. He has 179 HP. That makes him really bulky too. So I'm also running a lot of bulk on my team with a lot of HP investment, just speed creeping. Now, I've covered a lot of his team as to what I can kill. I mean, a lot of his team. The only thing that really truly scares the heck out of me right now is his Mega Sableye. And I have the ultimate counter in Mega Sableye. in Mega Audino. That's right, baby. You guys have been waiting for Mega Audino. I mean, it's only been one game, but still. You guys have been waiting for Mega Audino. Carrying the Audinite. Really? Audinite. There we go. Regenerator, of course. The reason why I want to have Regenerator is because I want to be able to send this thing in, be able to soak up a hit if I needed to, and then switch it right the heck back out whenever I think he's going to be scared of a Dazzling Gleam. So, for example, if he has in his Mega Sableye, and I have in my Scizor, and I think that he's going to go for a Will-O-Wisp or a Dark Pulse or something, I can go into Mega Audino, think I'm going to scare him out, and then send in something else. So, that's what this is for. I'm running an extremely weird set. I mean, I realize it's extremely weird, but I need this. He has 2 Eviolite users. Also, Dazzling Gleam because it hits Mega Sableye so freaking hard, even uninvested. Mega Audino, level 50. Doesn't do anything to this thing, but granted, he can't really 2-hit KO me anyway. So, Entei, we're going to go to Mega Sableye. Uninvested, it does a hell of amount of damage, and that means that he has to be running like Toxic and Recover to stall me out, or Calm Mind and Recover, but that means he can't be running other attacking moves, and it severely cripples the amount of power that he can do against me. So, and that also means it makes it easier for something else to come in and kill it later on. So, like I just previously mentioned, Mega Sableye is a problem. Another thing that's a problem are the 2 Eviolite users on his team, so I'm carrying Knockoff. That's right. Knockoff Mega Audino. For a couple reasons. If he wants to... Okay, so these are the scenarios that I have planned out in my head that I think will happen. If he wants to lead off with Mega Sableye, I lead off with Mega Audino. He switches out into his Klefki, and he can eat up a Dazzling Gleam. That's fine, I can knock it off, get rid of his potential Light Clay or leftovers, making it that much easier for me to take out. Or, he switches out into a specially defensive Porygon 2, I knock off his Eviolite, and makes that 100 times easier for Scizor to take out later on in the battle. So, pardon me, so, knockoff is extremely necessary. I'm going to be running a standard defensive one because I don't need to be running any other type. I'm going to be running a minus speed nature 2 because I don't need to outspeed anything. The only thing I need to outspeed is Sableye, and I outspeed. I'm going to be throwing 4 in special attack. So, I outspeed it even uninvested. So, this Mega Audino set I think could come in extremely handy later on. Like, if I need to surprise him with knockoff or whatever, get rid of items. Getting rid of items is insane. Another thing that I want to be able to do, if I have this thing in against his Dragonite, if he goes to +1, he cannot touch me. And the reason why I say that, he has to be running Dragon Claw. I don't think he'll run Outrage because I'm clearly carrying a Fairy type. I think he'll actually be running Earthquake and Iron Head. So at +1, 54% max. That means he has a 50% chance to 2-hit KO me. Turn 1, I could either, whenever I have this thing in, I could either break his multi-scale real quick with knockoff, get rid of his item. I could set up a Wish, prepare for him to kill me, send in Scizor, and then bullet punch him to death. Or I could Dazzling Gleam him, get off a lot of damage. But if he has his multi-scale gone, look at this. Look at that damage. 2-hit KO. So, well, not guaranteed, but more than what he has to kill me. So, this thing is also a very good Dragonite check. It also checks his Mega Sableye somewhat well, but it gets really hurt by his Roserade. It gets really hurt by his Entei, his Klefki. Manaphy actually, surprisingly, can't touch this thing too well. 22% with a Scald. And that means if I can knock him off, get a leftover. That sounds really freaking dirty. Knock him off. If I can knock off his leftovers, makes it a lot easier. If I can knock off his Life Orb, makes it a lot easier for me to live hits. So, Manaphy can't really touch me. Porygon 2 can't really touch me. Entei somewhat can, but once I knock off his Choice Band, he's not going to be doing a whole lot. I obviously will not keep this thing in against Rose Raid. That's what Registeel is here for, so that's a thing, I guess. I'm not going to be setting up Calm Mind, so if he wants to send in his Ditto versus me, that's fine. I have Scizor in the back to just bullet punch it because Choice Banded Scizor. Believe it or not, this thing is actually a problem if he wants to bring Ditto too, because that means he'll be taking that and I can't 2-hit KO him. Well, I can, but not likely. I mean, it's likely, but it's like 99%, so that sucks. Mega Audino, I think, will be very good. I want to run Heal Bell because he has a Will-O-Wisper, a Thunder Waver, a Toxicer. He also has Sacred Fire Burn. He also has Scald Burn. He also has Toxic Spikes. He has so many forms of status he could run on his team. I fully expect him to run status every single way. I have not watched his battle versus JJ yet. They just battled today. So that means that I need to watch it, and I need to learn how he plays with his team. He told me earlier that he's not used to his team yet, so I think I could take advantage of that because I'm so used to the Pokemon I'm running. I'm so used to them. So that is 5 of the 6. This last Pokemon, I had 3 things in mind for it. I want it to scare the piss out of Mega Sableye because I'm terrified of Mega Sableye. Another thing I want it to do is I want it to scare the crap out of Rose Raid, Klefki. Those 3 things were what I wanted, and the one thing that came to mind more than anything else, I wanted to run another wall. I wanted to run another wall with Assault Vest and just hurt him, but nothing worked as well as this plan as this Pokemon when I was planning. Arcanine. Now, I know a lot of you guys are saying, but Kelly, you could just run defensive Arcanine and then it would be just as good. But it won't. The reason why I say that is because this is what worries me. I want Intimidate for Dragonite, but I also want this set because it really cripples Mega Sableye and makes it a lot easier for my team to sweep. So, I'm going to be running a Life Orb. I hate running Life Orb. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Flash Fire. Why Flash Fire, Kelly? I'll tell you, don't worry. If he has in his Mega Sableye, and he wants to Will-O-Wisp my Scizor, good freaking luck. I have this thing to soak up Will-O-Wisp. He gets a +1 to his fire attacks. So I'm going to be running Flare Blitz. Going to be running Flare Blitz. Another thing I wanted to run was Morning Sun. Because with Life Orb and Flare Blitz Recoil, I'm not about to have this thing die in 3 hits. So this is where the set got extremely funny. What happens when you Will-O-Wisp a Magic Bounce user and you have Flash Fire? I'll give you a second to think about it. Okay, so I'll tell you if you don't know. You get a +1 to your fire attacks. So even if he doesn't want to Will-O-Wisp, I can force him to by using Will-O-Wisp of my own. And then the last thing that I wanted to do was I wanted to show you guys a calc before I showed you. Arcanine, offensive, 50, hasty nature. I cannot believe I'm about to run this set. I cannot believe I'm about to run this set. No move. I cannot believe I'm about to run this set. It's so risky, but it is the most solid way. Overheat. Overheat versus Mega Sableye. If he's running defensive, it's a 2-hit KO no matter what. If I Will-O-Wisp him, and I get to +1 fire attacks, I destroy him. And that's not even counting the special EV spread. I need this thing to outspeed Adamant and Modest base 100s like Manaphy and Entei, so with that I need 220 in speed. That gives me 36 to throw to special attack, and I have a 6% chance to OHKO him. If that means that I have to Flare Blitz the turn after or even go for another Overheat, I will. But this forces him to take almost his entire health from his Mega Sableye. It forces him to have to switch in his Porygon 2 to take a butt ton of damage from a Flare Blitz the next turn. It also forces him to potentially lose a lot of his team. Klefki, Roserade, I outspeed Timid Max Speed Roserade. Azelf, it forces him to take a lot of health on Manaphy, because if you look, even Manaphy doesn't appreciate a +1 Flare Blitz. So that really says something. This set is extremely risky. If I don't pull this off with his Sableye, which I think I will, to be 100% honest with you, whenever he sees my Arcanine in on a Golbat or something like that, or anything that he thinks I'm going to Will-O-Wisp, and he goes into Mega Sableye, he knows I like my defensive Arcanine. I've used it 3 times against him. I used it so many times Season 3. He is the one that told me that defensive Arcanine was actually a thing. So, I think when he sees it, he's going to instantly think that, and whenever he thinks that, I want to take full advantage of it, and I want to punish him for thinking it. Because this set is very... It's situational. I realize that. It's very situational. But look at the result. Klefki. Dead from both, even if he's specially defensive. Roserade. Dead from both, even if he's specially defensive. Golbat. Physically defensive. Almost dead from an Overheat, and a Flare Blitz does crazy amount of damage. Porygon 2. Specially defensive. Bam, Overheat hurts. I just need to make sure I keep my health up on this thing, because if I don't, it's a potential massive win condition to cause Scizor to Bullet Punch everything to death. So I really, 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 really need to preserve this. I really do. I'm a little worried, because if he doesn't bring Mega Sableye at all of this worry is for nothing. But Mega Sableye stops a lot of my team, and I think he needs it. So, let me go ahead and enter the move set and things like that. You're running 252 attack, plus there, minus there, 220, and 36. So, that is the team. I'm confident. I'm not cocky, and I'm not overly confident, but I'm like, hey, I have checks to everything on his team. Ditto doesn't really hurt my team at all. No matter what he wants to bring in. If he wants to bring in against Hydreigon, that sucks, but it's whatever. If he wants to bring it in against... I think the worst thing he could do is bring it in against my Registeel. I really think that is the worst thing he could do. Because then it's just going to be a long-ass battle. But he'll beat Scarf, so no, that's not even the worst. But his team is very scary. His team is very scary, and I don't think a lot of people realize how much of a pain in the ass the Klefki Mega Sableye core is, but luckily I have Arcanine that can hurt it. Luckily I have Mega Scizor, or a regular Scizor that can hurt it, and Raikou. So hopefully this team goes well. Let me know down below in the comments section what you guys think. Let me know if you like Ab's team, to be honest with me, because I really like his team. I think it's very unique. Look for the battle. Hopefully we'll be having it in about a week from today, which today is the... I don't even know what today is. I think it's like the 14th or something like that, but Saturday, yeah. It's the day that he had his round 1 battle, so it's about a week early. But hope you guys enjoyed this battle. Not this battle, this video, this planner. I'm nervous. I think he's just as nervous because he sees exactly the same thing I see. Now, while I have answers to him, he has answers to me. If he wants to, he can set it to +2 with Dragonite, sweep my entire team. So, make sure you guys leave a like down below. hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic day. Check out Eric's channel. He'll be in the description below. Have a fantastic day, guys, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.